Just out of the theater, Fantastic Four First Steps, and there's a lot to unpack. This one feels like a creative pivot for the MCU. From the opening frame, the film leans fully into a retro-futuristic aesthetic that sets it apart from the polished, modern-day tone the franchise is known for. The production design, the costumes, the texture of the visuals, everything is drenched in vintage comic book energy. Not in a campy way, but with a kind of deliberate authenticity that feels earned. What really stands out is how the film handles its tone. There's a blend of wonder and tension that evokes early space race optimism, with just enough grit to keep it grounded. It doesn't chase constant laughs or snappy one-liners, instead trusting the material to carry the mood. This makes the emotional beats land harder, and the stakes feel more personal, even when cosmic forces are involved. It's a tonal shift that feels intentional, and frankly overdue for this corner of the MCU. The casting was a major question mark going in, and thankfully, it delivers. The team dynamic comes through clearly, with strong chemistry and emotional balance across the core four. Each character has space to breathe, and their relationships evolve with a natural rhythm. One performance in particular stands out, deeply emotional and restrained, offering a reminder that even in a blockbuster, subtlety still matters. It's one of the more resonant MCU character arcs in recent memory. World building is another area where this film takes a more refined approach. Instead of overwhelming audiences with cameos and constant cross-references, it introduces new ideas and locations with purpose. There are hints at broader connections to the universe, but they don't hijack the narrative. This restraint gives the story a clearer identity. Speaking of which, the storyline does show some structural weaknesses. The central conflict, including the Galactus setup, leans towards simplicity. It functions, but it's not the film's strongest asset. There's a sense that some narrative threads were held back for future installments. It stands on its own, while still leaving breadcrumbs for future integration into the MCU's evolving multiverse arc. Still, the emotional backbone of the film is solid. The family dynamic, what defines the Fantastic Four, comes through clearly and anchors the film even when the plot loses momentum. The score by Giacchino deserves its own spotlight. It's not just background, it drives scenes. From sweeping orchestral builds to eerie sci-fi pulses, the music amplifies the tone without ever overwhelming it. Every moment feels more grounded, more complete because of it. What makes this entry especially interesting is its commitment to the science-y, spacey side of the MCU. There's a genuine sense of exploration and mystery that hasn't been tapped into in recent films. It opens doors to corners of the universe that still feel untouched. In that sense, the movie feels fresh, even when the broader plot starts to feel familiar. Another strength is the pacing. The film doesn't rush to showcase powers or dive into battles. It earns those moments by first building trust in the characters and their motivations. The origin story is handled with a mix of restraint and the creativity, giving just enough spectacle without becoming a CGI blur. When the action does hit, it feels like a payoff, not a distraction. This approach helps the story feel more like a journey than a checklist of superhero milestones. Eventually, this is a clear win for Marvel. It's a different kind of superhero film, not afraid to embrace old-school storytelling and slower pacing. It doesn't scream for attention. It builds a foundation. And in doing so, it earns something more valuable than spectacle: trust. For anyone worried about whether this was going to be another misstep for the franchise, it isn't. In fact, it may be the most successful Fantastic Four adaptation yet.